Yes, you see, this is the thing. Most scientists they struggle about words. See, they don't want to understand about agree on the principles. Yes, and this is really not my. If you want to call it DSE, it's fine. I think if you keep this idea of the gyroscope in your mind, and you can see a gyroscope can only work if it's spinning, first of all, around his own axis. So what is happening in most cases in people, they don't spin around their own axis anymore. They spin around somebody else. Like in a relationship, for example, they only think about what does the other person need. Or they have children and they only spin around the needs of the children. Or they have a boss and they only wake up with thinking, what will he ask me today? Yes? Or they are in a culture where they are supposed not to say anything or ask any question, so they're not spinning around their own impulse. Should I open my mouth or not? They do what the culture wants. So they are not spinning around their own axis.
It's a more philosophical point. Sorry to interrupt your speech. You were perfectly right to say that when you have one point of contact, you have infinite degree of freedom of movement. When you have two fixed points of, like an axis, you have 2 points that are fixed. Then you spin around that axis. It's stable, but it's static. Now we have our own what you call free will. Now, if your free will is imposed on by somebody else, then you have one fixed point and another fixed point in space, so that you become static. If you go to the school, the teacher teaches you to think along that axis. When you go home, you have another axis. Your parent is influencing you. So we have, yes, it's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. You have to be detached from other influences and base your decision on your own free will.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's what you have to find for your clients. Where are they too much attached to some other point outside of themselves? It could be the parents, could be the culture, it could be anything. That's where they lose all these degrees of freedom that the Creator wants to give us. Yes. So once we understand this, we have a completely new understanding of healing. As I asked you yesterday, what's the purpose of healing? You remember what's the purpose of healing? Because you're all interested in healing. Well, there was only maybe one idea saying, well, maybe to increase the energy level. And then I say, what does it mean, energy? Then, of course, it's just a word. So and then this was about all that could be given. So now I said, creating health is about creating, again, increasing the uncertainty. Yes? And what does this is just another word for creating more dimensions of freedom. And of course, if you have 100% uncertainty, it means you have 100% or infinite number of degrees of freedom. So if you look at this from this point of view, then you also have a completely new understanding about what is health and what is not so healthy. If you have more attachments, more fixed ideas, then it means it's less healthy. So and that's why I'm also saying I want this kind of interferences in my seminars with questions. It's not, in many cultures it's even not at all appreciated, because it creates too much instability, creates too much uncertainty mainly for the teacher, because he can be challenged in what he's saying. And of course, Everybody is trained not to like this, but I like it because, not because in the end I'm right, but because it wakes everybody up. This is really, this is the point why we have discussion. Yes, it wakes people up. If there's some topic and people can discuss, suddenly everybody's awake. Yeah, because they have different opinions. Huh? And so the same thing we have to do in medicine. We have to wake up either with appropriate frequencies or with appropriate information. And the end result is not to create harmony or agreement between everybody. So this is also the old school. Yes? If we have total harmony, means something is wrong. You know something is very wrong.